multiplying polynomials. Negative times a negative is a positive, and a negative number with a positive number is a negative number. Something that is important to remember. So, here we go. When we multiply a monomial, remember a monomial, mono means one. This is a single-termed polynomial. When we multiply a monomial with any other polynomial, could be another mono, could be a bi, could be a tri, we are going to distribute. Now, distribution is another word for multiply, but to distribute means that we multiply the monomial onto each term of the other polynomial. So let's take a look. I mean, monomial by monomial, that's what we've been doing this whole time. If I had something like, let's start with a simpler example. An example of a mono times a mono would be something like this. 4x times 3x squared. I mean, what we were doing was monomial multiplication, but I taught it to you back in an exponents chapter, and I said, okay, look, there's exponent laws here. How do I do this? Hassanjo.
Multiply the 4 and the 3 and add the exponents of the x.
Yeah, I multiply the 4 and the 3, and then I add the exponents on the x. So 4 times 3 is 12. X to the power of what? It's going to be 3. Because when there is no exponent written, the exponent on that x there is a 1. So we're going to add these two exponents together, and we're going to get x cubed. So I have 3 x's being multiplied here. 2 right there, and 1 more there. Okay? So a monomial by a mono times a mono, we've done already. This was just in the exponent laws section. Exponent laws. You've seen it. It's done. So let's now look at how a monomial multiplies onto a binomial. I'm going to grab a different color here. We're going to go with blue. So I've got 2 times x plus 2. If this was 2 times x we would write as 2x. If this was 2 times 2, we'd write it as 4. So the individual multiplications are pretty straightforward. The only thing we're going to add in here, that's not blue, that's black, that's blue. The only thing we're going to bring in here is the fact that we now need to do both of those things together. How I want you to show your work is like this. We need to make sure we distribute the monomial onto each term in the binomial. And if you recall, terms are separated by addition and subtraction. I've got 2 terms here. So I need to make sure I multiply the 2 by the x and the 2 by the 2. 2 times x is just 2x. You said it already. 2 times positive 2 is, remember we have to include it's just like before, we include the sign up front. 2 times positive 2 is plus 4. That's it. A monomial times a monomial times a binomial isn't super difficult. We distribute in onto every term. Draw your arrows to make sure you've hit every term. And then we use the exponent laws we did last chapter to make sure we handle things properly. For example, here's one with variables. Uh-oh, what do we got here? Mr. Bell, hello. Super duper, man. How are you? Yes. You bet. Garmin, I have a phone call for you. You, yes. It's Mr. Bell. We'd like to speak to you on the phone. We're just going to keep going, so feel free to hide in the corner here and talk to him. He's not cooked, he's cooking. Okay, so here we go. We're going to continue. I've got this guy here. A new monomial, new binomial, but the procedure is the same. I want to make sure that this monomial here gets multiplied onto each piece in that binomial there. And now we're just going to use the exponent laws that we looked at in the previous chapter to make sure we deal with this properly. I've got negative 2x times negative 2x. So I'm going to multiply the coefficients, and we're going to combine those x's using our exponent laws. Negative 2 times negative 2 is? I'm going to get positive 4. That's good because a negative times a negative is positive. 2 times 2 is 4. And x times x is going to be? X squared. And then this piece over here, I'm going to make sure that the negative 2x gets distributed onto that term there as well. Negative 2x times positive 2 is going to be? Negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. The x has nothing to group with, so it just comes along for the ride, and we get 4x squared minus 4x. We could make it more interesting by adding something bigger in here. Let's do it. Let's make it more interesting. Negative 3xy is going to be our monomial. And our polynomial is going to be something big and crazy and wonderful. I'm going to have a 9x minus 4y plus 8x squared y cubed. Why not? Let's do that. It looks more difficult, but the procedure is the same. The tools don't change. Procedure is the same. What I want you to do, draw the arrows to make sure the monomial out front gets multiplied onto each piece of the, in this case, a trinomial. The terms separated by addition and subtraction. And we can do each piece individually. What is negative 3xy times 9x? That's the question. Negative 3 times positive 9 is negative 27. So I'm just going to write the pieces in order over here. I'm going to get a negative 27. What else is going to happen here? Yeah, the x times x is going to give me x squared. And that y is just coming along for the ride. Sweet. That piece is done. I'm going to grab another color. Maybe it helps to do it in different colors, but you guys often don't have different colors. So we're going to distribute it onto this guy now. My negative 3xy times negative 4y. I have to include the sign out front. And I'm just going to do it piece by piece. Negative 3 times negative 4 is? And I want you to say positive 12, because that plus sign needs to go in there. So negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12. My y times y is? Y squared. And that x has no one to group with, so it just comes along for the ride. And we're going to get something that looks like this. So the first multiplication gave me negative 27x squared y. The second step gave us the positive 12xy squared. And the last one I'm going to do in pink. I've got negative 3xy times 8x squared y cubed. What am I going to get? Someone other than Hasanjot and Zara, because they've answered everything so far. Yes, Josh. The pink multiplication. This guy distributed onto that term. Negative 24 x to the 3 y to the 4. Good. So then this entire polynomial is the result we get when we multiply. Now, just for fun, what's the degree of this polynomial? No, the degree. Not the order. Give me the degree. It is not a degree 4. Yes, Alex, louder. This is a degree 7. You want to add the exponents on all of the variables in any given term. So this term has a degree of 3. This one's got a degree of 3. This one has a degree of 3 plus 4 is 7. So then if I wanted to put this in the right order, this term would come first, followed by these two. Just if I wanted to do that. For whatever reason, you know, test or a quiz. Okay. Yeah, throw it in the bin. Yeah, over there. Here we go. So monomial by binomial is not bad, right? We feel we can do that? Do you want to practice it? Let's practice it. I want you to flip the page. I want you to crank out number 1, 2. You know what? I want you to do up to 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Crank those suckers out. Tell me what you get. Go. O stands for outside. It's the outer two terms. The x times the positive 3. I stands for inside. It's the inner two terms, the negative 3 by the 2x. There's the I. And L stands for last. It's the last term in the first polynomial by the last term in the second polynomial. This is what it means to FOIL. Basically, all we're doing is making sure we distribute every term in the front onto every term in the back, and this gives us an order to do it. And now we just have to go do the math. Here we go. So let's try it. First, x times 2x is 2x squared, you bet. So I'm going to write it out like this. FOIL. X times 2x is 2x squared. Fantastic. Outside is the x times the positive 3. X times 3 is just plus 3x. The inside ones are the negative 3 times the 2x. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. And then the negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. And now I want to collect my like terms. Which terms are like here? Austin Joe. These two. If you do the multiplication in this order, the foiling, again, assuming these are written in the correct order, you're going to have pairs of common or like terms in the middle there. So I'm going to add those two together, and my final result is going to be 2x squared. What is 3x minus 6x? That's the negative 3x. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. X minus 9. This piece there becomes that middle piece right there. Oops, sorry. There you go. Now, I don't need to see all of this work every time. But if you need a way to organize your work, this is a smart way to do it. I'll do one more example with you quick, and then you'll have the rest of the time to work on some stuff. Let's take a look. Here we go. I've got negative 2x plus 3 times negative 7 minus 5x. So here we go. We're going to FOIL. First two terms. And I'm not going to draw all of the arrows. I'm going to do it piece by piece. Negative 2x times negative 7 is positive 14x. Cool. Now my outside ones. Negative 2x times negative 5x. It's going to be plus 10x squared. X times x is x squared. Now my inside ones, 3 times negative 7. So minus 21. And 3 times negative 5x. And we get a 15x. Now these weren't in the correct order, so this isn't in a helpful order. So let's find our like terms in there. The like terms in here are the 14x and the negative 15x. So let's put it in the correct order and gather like terms. In the correct order, the first thing that gets listed is, we go with the biggest degree, and so that's going to be the 10x squared. So we're going to get 10x squared. It was positive. I don't need to write the plus sign up front. Now, what is 14x minus 15x? Negative x, or negative 1x. If you'd like to put the 1 in there to help you make sure you're understanding it, feel free. This is the next biggest degree. And then the last piece is minus 21, and you're done. Comments, questions, concerns? Hearing nothing. You got 5 minutes. Here's what I want you to do. There's a lot of practice here. Let's not do all of the practice. That's a lot of practice. I want you to do these 6 questions. And we'll call it there. You know what? I actually want to give you a little bit more. Those 6 questions in this page, and then these questions, odds. There's an upside down answer key on the next page. This is what I would like you to try to get you to try and practice. These 6. And when you flip the page, I think there's 20 questions, 18 questions, but I want you to do odds. So there's 9 more there. Yes, I know there's only 5 minutes left in class, but that is plenty of time for you to make a real serious dent on this. On your market, set, go.